Just sacrificed 32 men to an individual that doesn't give a damn about anybody's time with her.
Buckle up, folks, as we step into the drama-filled world of Dayton, Illinois. Ever witnessed a political showdown so intense it could rival the chaos of a reality TV disaster? Get ready, because Mayor Tiffany Henyard's time in office is anything but boring. The town is about to endure a season packed with scandal, power struggles, and high-stakes tension. On a typical Monday night, what was supposed to be a routine village trustee meeting quickly turned into the heart of a political storm. Armed with frustration and more than a little irritation, the townspeople were primed to unleash their anger at Mayor Henyard, setting the stage for a confrontation that would shake the community to its core.
We are awaiting Mayor Henyard to arrive. We'll give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting with no explanation.
The meeting began 30 minutes late over what seemed like a minor issue, but that delay quickly became the catalyst for a surge of simmering frustration. What started as a small inconvenience soon escalated into open hostility. One neighbor took the microphone and sharply declared, "We just sacrificed 32 minutes to an individual who doesn't care about anyone's time but her own." The remark hit hard, so much so that even Mayor Tiffany Henyard, known for her calm demeanor, would have struggled to ignore it. From that point on, the floodgates opened. One by one, attendees approached the microphone, their voices shaking with anger and disappointment. What began as a list of grievances soon merged into a powerful, unified call for change. Clean House 2025. This was no longer just about frustration. It was a demand for accountability. Speaker after speaker echoed the same message. Henyard's time was running out. The most compelling moments came from residents calling for action, urging their neighbors to vote. One impassioned speaker proclaimed, "We must go to those polls and we must vote right, because we cannot let her continue as mayor." The room buzzed with a potent mix of frustration and rage, thick with the sense that a reckoning was near. What began as a routine meeting had transformed into a declaration that the status quo was no longer acceptable.
Get back into being a mayor, and we already know she's not going to win that supervisor.
Tiffany Henyard has never been one to shy away from conflict, and she wasn't about to let the residents have the last word without a fight. Confronted with sharp accusations and blunt ultimatums, she responded with her signature mix of defiance and unapologetic confidence, refusing to show any sign of intimidation. "The disrespect you just showed at that microphone is unbelievable," she fired back, her voice slicing through the tension in the room. Her tone, laced with contempt, left no doubt about her disregard for her critics. She didn't stop there, asserting her authority with a pointed declaration. "I have the seat, whether you like it or not. I am your mayor." The remark was both a reaffirmation of her position and a provocation, underscoring her refusal to bow to public sentiment. Henyard then went further, audaciously comparing herself to former President Donald Trump, drawing parallels between their leadership styles and the controversies that seemed to shadow them both. She framed herself as a misunderstood leader, standing firm against what she deemed unjust criticism, hinting at her own version of a landslide victory and asserting that history would eventually vindicate her. While her remarks may have been calculated to rally her supporters, they struck many as yet another display of her disconnection from the community she was elected to serve. For some, her defiance was a show of strength. For others, it was further proof of her unwillingness to take accountability, a stance that only deepened the rift between her and the residents.
Know this, I am going to come through on a landslide, just like Trump did. Know that I will be victorious.
"We are not your subjects. We are your bosses. We are the citizens of Dalton, and you will not continue to treat us this way." With this resolute declaration, a resident confronted Mayor Tiffany Henyard, channeling the collective frustration of a community determined to demand accountability. Unshaken by Henyard's brash defiance, the residents displayed a resilience that made it clear they would not be silenced. This was no ordinary disagreement, but an explosive encounter, exposing the deep political divisions tearing through Dalton. As Henyard's taunts echoed through the room, an audience member responded with a bold rebuttal that struck a chord, encapsulating the growing discontent with a mayor perceived as dismissive of her constituents. The defiant response challenged Henyard's authority and demonstrated the town's unwillingness to bow to perceived arrogance and overreach. The crowd, electrified by the exchange, erupted in cheers and applause, a powerful signal that their patience had worn thin. This clash of wills between Henyard and the residents vividly illustrated the intensifying struggle for political control in Dalton, a battle defined by audacious speeches, steadfast determination, and an unyielding demand for accountability. The charged atmosphere reflected a community on edge, showcasing that this was about more than political differences. It was about the citizens of Dalton asserting their power and reclaiming their voice in the face of leadership they no longer trusted. The raw emotion of the confrontation was a testament to democracy in its purest form, proving that even in the smallest towns, the voices of the people can challenge the mightiest of leaders.
Without bias, at the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and recommendations.
The FBI's investigation into the village cast a long shadow over Mayor Tiffany Henyard, intensifying the controversies surrounding her administration. Public dissatisfaction swelled as inquiries into village spending unveiled troubling concerns. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's separate investigation uncovered a sharp financial decline in the village's general fund, which plunged from a $5.61 million surplus in 2022 to a $3.65 million deficit by May 2024. Further scrutiny revealed questionable expenses on the village credit card, including a $43,000 Amazon purchase on January 5, 2023, with no accompanying receipts. These revelations fueled mounting calls for Henyard's removal, as doubts over her financial management deepened. The governance crisis escalated when two trustees, Christopher Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle, skipped a critical board meeting over transparency concerns, preventing a vote to fill a vacant trustee seat. The tension grew when Henyard attempted to unilaterally appoint Ronald Barrar as the new police chief, a move deemed illegal by a village spokesperson. Barrar's controversial appointment, compounded by a lack of board approval, further strained relations. Meanwhile, her appointment of Lacey Burge as interim police chief stirred additional controversy. Burge's history of legal troubles and lack of certification by the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board highlighted deeper issues within Henyard's administration. Although a judge temporarily allowed Burge's appointment for 30 days, many of Henyard's decisions faced legal challenges and were eventually overturned. Adding to the turmoil, Henyard faced personal scrutiny in a landlord-tenant dispute with Janetta Hull, who claimed the mayor and her partner failed to pay rent since August, racking up thousands in late fees. Despite denials from Henyard's lawyer, Hull alleged the couple changed the locks in garage code to bar her from accessing the property, further tarnishing the mayor's reputation. Henyard's public relations efforts also backfired. Her annual turkey giveaway, intended as a goodwill gesture, was criticized as a transparent distraction from the mounting scandals. Promotional posters plastered across town drew comparisons to political propaganda, with some residents likening her tactics to those of authoritarian leaders like Venezuela's Nicolás Maduro. Meanwhile, giant billboards featuring Henyard's image and slogans such as "Keeping my promises, fighting for my residents" only fueled perceptions of her as an out-of-touch, autocratic leader. Allegations that she used taxpayer funds for personal enrichment, extravagant parties, luxury travel, and even employing police officers as personal bodyguards, further alienated residents and intensified calls for accountability. The outrage reached a fever pitch when Henyard reportedly called the police to intervene as workers removed banners featuring her image and the title "Super Mayor." For many, this encapsulated her increasingly authoritarian approach and growing disconnect from the community. The cascading scandals, legal troubles, and financial crises painted a picture of an administration struggling to maintain control, leaving many residents demanding change and questioning the viability of Henyard's leadership.
Has this turkey giveaway, so it isn't anything new. Yet some trustees say that Supervisor Henyard, she is using.
The story of Tiffany Henyard is far from over. Her recently announced re-election bid, emerging amid political turmoil, scandals, and mounting controversies, adds another layer to her complex saga. Once celebrated as Dalton's first female mayor and a symbol of change, Henyard now faces intense scrutiny and a community deeply divided over her leadership. Her decision to seek another term, while unsurprising, given her defiant and often polarizing approach, has ignited fierce debate. Supporters view her as a resilient leader fighting against political sabotage, while critics see her campaign as a desperate attempt to rehabilitate her tarnished legacy and cling to power. Henyard frames herself as a figure rising above detractors, determined to solidify her place in Dalton's history. However, allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and abuse of power have cast a long shadow over her tenure, leaving the town at a crossroads. Residents face a choice between continuing with Henyard's vision, clouded by suspicion, or opting for a fresh start focused on transparency and accountability. This election, therefore, is more than a political contest. It is a referendum on her leadership and the future trajectory of Dalton itself. As for Henyard, the campaign is a test of endurance and resolve, an opportunity to prove her critics wrong and secure a second term. Yet for many in Dalton, her re-election bid symbolizes unchecked ambition and a refusal to acknowledge her administration's controversies. The stakes are high, as the outcome will determine not just Henyard's fate, but also the town's political and social direction for years to come. The drama surrounding Henyard's campaign has drawn statewide attention, turning what might have been a local election into a broader conversation about leadership ethics and public accountability. As the election nears, Dalton remains charged with tension, and the question of Henyard's future looms large. Will she overcome the scandals, reclaim her narrative, and secure a second term? Or will this election mark the end of her tenure, ushering in a new chapter for the town? This pivotal moment in Dalton's history underscores the broader challenges of leadership, community trust, and governance. Regardless of the outcome, the ramifications of this election will shape Dalton's future for years to come, with Henyard's controversial legacy at its center. The stakes extend beyond slogans and promises, reflecting the resilience of a community seeking justice and the enduring impact of leadership on a town's fabric. As Election Day approaches, one thing is clear: the story of Tiffany Henyard, marked by drama, division, and defiance, is far from finished.